Here's Kate Harrison here on CBC talking about the Mark Carney not even wanting to talk to the sausage eaters that are on the trip with him.
Kate, do you think that, what do you make of this whole situation?
Yeah, I think it would be helpful for the Prime Minister to make himself available to answer some questions on this. Once is a coincidence and twice is a pattern. When we saw the Prime Minister go to Beijing, it just so happened that government MPs were present in Taiwan, and then their participation was pulled back to their own admission to avoid confusion ahead of that meeting with the PRC. Now we see a government official suggest that, Indian interference, no big deal, nothing to see here, right on the heels, or right at the forefront of the Prime Minister's trip. I don't think that those things are coincidences. I think it's a pattern of trying to appease prospective trade partners at the behest of foreign policy principles. I agree with Vandana that we can walk and chew gum at the same time. What I would observe right now is the Prime Minister avoiding the gum on the sidewalk altogether.
That's good. And then Carney said he just landed in Australia there. And make sure that the media is out there to take pictures. If you put up that next slide, take pictures of him while he walks off the plane. So that's their role, photo ops. Hey boys, you get off the plane there, you got to take a picture. Put the sausage rolls down. But he's the Prime Minister is set to meet with the Australian top brass there. Defense Minister David McGuinty, meanwhile, said there's a new openness here in Australia to work with Canada. Weren't they always willing to work with us? I mean, they're literally, they buy all our mining companies. You're muted. Ian's muted. Can't hear Ian. What happened? Did you mute yourself, Ian?
Oh,
yeah.
Perhaps I did.
Mr. there.
But I was just saying, McGuinty there, you quoted him saying the new openness. But then he goes on to explain the reason why that is. And it's the Davos speech. Are we ever going to hear the end of that bloody speech? He's saying this idea of middle powers all coming together. Like, this really resonated with the Australians. That's just... Are you insulting the Australians there? Are you saying they're so stupid that they hadn't come to the realization that international law was bogus until, or like the American hegemonic system or whatever was bogus? I think the Aussies hadn't figured that out until Mark Carney, made a hash of that in Davos and started talking about communism and random things like that. Really? Just mad. This speech, I've never in my lifetime had to deal with a speech as overrated as this. I don't think that there's been anything even close. I mean, some of the Obama speeches, but like with the Obama thing, like loads of people were saying that, you couldn't walk around for articles about how Obama was overrated and his speaking ability was gimmicky and his speeches had no content. That was everywhere. But this with the Davos speech, it's just universal praise. It's like, Martin Luther King's From the Mountaintop speeches, and people are talking about it like it was on Moses. No, it wasn't. It was none of that. It was a seriously trite speech. I'm starting to get very sick of hearing about it now.
Well, I know if they let Ian and I on the plane there, we would put the sausage roll down long enough to ask McGuinty a question. One of the questions I would come up with is, why isn't Canada part of the AUKUS agreement? We have the largest unprotected coastline in the world. And we aren't part of the AUKUS agreement, which is nuclear submarines. Why is Australia part of it? It's not like Australia is a much richer country than Canada. But Australia is part of it.
It is quite a bit richer because it has mined its resources and sells its LNG around the world.
But I'm just saying potentially.
Not that much richer.
Potentially, we should be like 10x Australia. Like, they're just laughing at us too. And the UK, that little tiny little island with almost no resources, is part of AUKUS. That'd be the question I would ask McGuinty while you're there, acting all hoity with hauteur. Fools. And then Carney, this is from the Senator, Denise Batters there, saying, The media only shows up to take pictures from faraway photo ops, not allowed to ask questions. CBC is on the plane. Literally the whatever you call the selected media. Do you think they would let Ian and I on the plane?
They're literally on the plane sniffing Mark Carney's recycled farts in the cabin, but they're not asking questions, and they can't ask questions.
They're not allowed, and they're so well
It's
behaved.
a real humbling experience for them, I'm sure.
They're so well behaved they don't dare ask questions. What is literally wrong, and how strong and bullying are the PR people, the PMO's office here in Canada? We talked yesterday. You got to go watch that interview with the food professor. He said one of the most powerful lobby groups in Canada is the dairy cartel. And maybe they don't like to be called the dairy cartel, but the dairy.
Yeah, dairy dairy farmers of Canada. I actually think we should interview them. So if they're listening, if they got one of their operatives,
They
let's have a
spend.
chat. We want your side of the
They
story.
spend $9 per Canadian on marketing. That's how powerful they are, and much of it's spent on the media here. Yeah, so he's not doing any questions.